All right. Okay. So it's Tool Time Tuesday. It's session 90, and we're still talking about the new Outlook. We are going to take a break from the new Outlook after this session just because we're Outlooked out. But you can always ask questions on the Teams. You can reach out. We'll talk about it again. We just, I want everyone to have time to adjust. Someone has asked in the chat, do we know when the rollout's going to be completed for this? We were told that we will be all moved over to the new Outlook in December of this calendar year. So we still have time. You can still use the old Outlook until you're ready. You can toggle between the old and the new one. So don't panic. But be aware that it's coming. So we are going to need to get familiar with it and get comfortable with it as well. So December of this year is I think the projected timeline. I'm Larissa Gann. My co-host is Leslie Moore, and we're from the Research Medical Library. Reach out, ask us questions. We're here for you. I wanted to just let you know before I begin that we have some upcoming classes that might be of interest to you or your fellows or your students. We have a class on advanced literature searching, a class on how to cite AI tools in research. So if you are using AI writing tools or other AI tools, how to cite them properly. And then we have a Dear Editor session coming up this month on how to make a graphical abstract. So these are all 30 to 45-minute sessions, and they're very good if you're in writing and publishing and literature searching research. So let's jump right in. We're still talking about the new Outlook. Hooray. I hope everybody's doing okay and is adjusting to it. Be aware that the new Outlook mirrors the online version of Outlook. So if you were already comfortable with the online version, hopefully it will be easier for you to use the desktop one. Also be aware that this is coming. As I said before, the rollout should be done by the end of the calendar year. So, you're free to toggle back and forth between the old Outlook and the new for now, but at some point we won't be able to. We'll just be on the new Outlook. So keep asking questions. Let's crowdsource questions and answers on the Tool Time Tuesday team. We're here to help one another and make this easier. So we wanted to mention a couple of other things we found this time, and then of course we'll answer questions if you have them. We know that conditional formatting is gone in the new Outlook, and some people really enjoyed the conditional formatting. I was one of those people. So Leslie pointed this out as an option of a way to categorize things. So if you use categories, or if you don't, you can make your categories into favorites in Outlook. So if you go to your settings, and if you'll remember, the settings is the little gear icon in the upper right-hand corner of your Outlook. Under settings, you can search for categories, and you'll see there's, you can create categories here. So this is where you would create a little color tag for yourself. Like this is urgent and you want the color tag to be red, things like that. So you see, I have a couple of different categories here that I can use. If I have one that's really important, I can mark it by starring it, and it will show up under favorites in Outlook from that point forward. So I do have a follow-up folder that I starred. It shows up under my inbox now, under the favorites section, so that I can check my follow-up in one folder pretty quickly. Just a pro tip, you can also just right-click on favorites and add a favorite and add the category or the name of the person that you want to be under your favorites as well. Okay. So someone asked, if you already use categories in the old Outlook, will they carry over? Yes, these were old. I have modified them slightly because this new move to the new one made me think about it a little bit more, but yes, they should carry over. The only thing that doesn't carry over that I have found is your signature. So make sure to copy your signature over. You can go back and update your signature. It's not a problem. Someone else direct messaged me about the toggle not working in Outlook, the new Outlook and the old Outlook. I'm guessing you probably still need an update. So I would just continue rebooting every morning to see if you get an update. We have noticed some inconsistencies in Outlook. Some days I open it and I have some things, and some days I open it and I don't. And by things, I mean settings or features. Not my email is fine. We're going to talk about the address book in just a minute. Okay, so you can favorite your categories, and that's one way to just tag some emails. Someone asked us about reactions. So you'll notice that there are these cute little reactions that we can add to emails now. If you click on the little smiley face icon, you have quite a few you can choose from, and you can click a reaction. I think the goal of this is to reduce email, like we can do a thumbs up instead of saying thanks to an email. Um, so if you want to view reactions, do you want to see when somebody gives you a thumbs up or something? You, of course, are going to go in your settings, the little gear icon in the upper right-hand corner of Outlook. You can choose how you want to show the notifications. So that means you can say whether you want the little pop-up notification pane. Do you want it to play a sound when you get a reaction? What would you like? So you have a couple of options for that. If you want to locate your reactions, they're under the bell icon in the upper right-hand corner of Outlook. So our tasks are here. Your reactions are going to be here under the bell icon, all your notifications. So if you want to check out if somebody's reacted to an email, you can take a look there. So what happens if you don't like reactions and you want to turn off these notifications? That's something that we considered as well. Again, you're going to go to your settings. You could just toggle off the notifications and say, I don't want to get a sound or a pop-up for reactions. I just want to view them in the pane when I'm ready. Now, the other thing that happens is if somebody gives you a reaction on an email, you get something called a daily digest. So the daily digest is an email, which seems to be counterintuitive to reducing emails. But the only way that we found that you could get rid of this daily digest if you don't wish to receive it is to create a rule. It's really simple to do. You'll only have to do it once. When you get that daily digest to say, hey, you've had this many reactions a day, just right click on the email, select rules, create rule. You're going to type in deleted items because I want to trash them. Click OK. When I set up this rule, all of these daily digests are going to go to the trash from now on. I can still see my notifications under the bell icon, but I'm just not getting an extra email that way. I'm reducing that extra email. Okay. So, okay, we'll come back to signatures because somebody asked about transferring signatures. We'll definitely come back to that. Don't let me miss these, Leslie. Okay. So there's also mentions. You can mention somebody in an email by adding them. So I can add Leslie Moore. What this does is it adds her to the recipient line of the email. So it is a way to reduce, I guess, that one thing. You can say at Leslie Moore, and then she goes into the recipient line. And they will get a notification that they've been added on the email. So this also goes into that notifications pane under the bell. You can customize your notifications if you'd like. It's pretty simple to click on the customize and view the other notification settings. Leslie and I tested this. We didn't find a lot of added value to this. The only added value that I could see, and maybe y'all feel different, is that you can at them while you're typing the email out and it puts them in the email recipient line. So I guess you're reducing typing, but right now it doesn't have a ton of functionality. We got asked about shared mailboxes. So many of us are using shared mailboxes for, like, we have a departmental library shared mailbox where when y'all email us with questions, it all goes to that mailbox. And then whoever's available first or whoever's on call will answer that question. So some of you probably have shared boxes as well, mailboxes. If you need to add a shared mailbox, I'm going to show you the instructions. But before saying that, you have to have permission to add a shared mailbox. All that means is that your manager or your department administrator, someone in your department has to give you access to the mailbox. So if you didn't have access to the mailbox before, you can't add it to Outlook. But if you did have access to the mailbox before, it's really easy to add. You're going to right click on the shared with me section. This is in your email inbox. There's a shared with me section, and you're going to select add shared folder or mailbox. All you have to do is type in the email address for the shared mailbox and choose add. We did test this just to make sure that we couldn't add mailboxes we didn't have access to, and we cannot add mailboxes we don't have access to, which makes sense. So that is how to add a shared mailbox to Outlook. Don't forget that your shared mailboxes are down here, shared with me. So it does collapse, so you might have to open it back up to see your shared mailboxes. Right. The phishing button. We've had several people ask about where is the phishing button? And believe it or not, between the last time we presented, the instructions for this have changed slightly, simply because Outlook looks slightly different from the last time we presented. Not crazy different, just the settings. But if you need to click on the phishing button, which obviously we all need to do that if we get a phishing email or a suspected phishing email, you're going to go to the email and select the ... to any email and click ... You're going to choose customize actions. And you're just going to check this tiny little button that says MD Anderson report phish. You only have to do this once. Once you've added the phishing button, you'll see it on your emails, and it's the little email. We discussed what this was last time, and I already forgot. So it didn't stick with me, Leslie. Do you remember? It's a tiny little icon, and some of you schooled me on what it was, and I already forgot what it is.
It's an email. Yeah, it's an email on a fish hook.
An email on a fish hook. Thank you. It's phishing and it's on a fish hook. Why did I not remember that? Okay. Fish hook. Thank you. So if you're missing this in your emails, missing the email with the fish hook, all you have to do is right click on a ... in any email, go to customize actions, check the box. And from that point forward, your phishing button will be there. I have had to use it and it worked perfectly. So it's there. Okay. So we also had questions. Some people had some issues with Zoom and the new Outlook. And this is the best practices that we've learned. So we're going to just share that with you. When you're scheduling a new meeting in the new Outlook, you're going to open your event. Go ahead and add all your details and your invitees. Add the Zoom meeting absolutely last to your meeting. It seems to reduce the number of issues that are happening. So basically just fill out your meeting, add your invitees, then you're going to go to Zoom and add meeting. If you need to change the settings on the meeting or you're not seeing the settings, just remember that under the Zoom icon, if you click on the drop down, there's settings and you can update your settings for the meeting on the right-hand side. We also sent out a tip of the week this morning about logging into Zoom. A couple of people, when they moved over to the new Outlook, were asked to log into the new Zoom again. It's a little clunky, so we sent instructions on how to do that this morning in the email. If you didn't receive those, just shoot me an email and I'll share that with you. Am I missing any big questions yet? Just into the, yeah, okay. So how to search for people. We keep getting asked for this too. You can search for people by selecting the people icon on the left-hand side and the little search box that's at the very top in the blue bar. If you prefer a shortcut, you can hit Control-3 and it will take you to the people icon, and then you can search. It searches the global directory, so you should be able to find who you're looking for there. I wanted to mention email templates too. So I've always used signatures as my templates. So we have basic templates we send out. Like if you order something through our interlibrary loan service, so many of you would order an article through the interlibrary loan service, we have a standard copyright text we have to send with that. It's, institutional policy that we send that copyright text. So I would always create a signature with the copyright text and a few words. Well, the new Outlook has this thing called templates, and maybe the old one had it too, but I never saw it. But you can create templates for yourself. Sorry, guys. I wouldn't normally have my Outlook open while I'm presenting, but because I'm showing you Outlook. So you can create templates. When you go to create a new email, there's this My Templates section. Under My Templates, you can just select the template that you want. They have a couple default ones like I'll reply later, I'm running late, lunch, do you want to have lunch? Those are the generic ones. You can add your own templates by clicking on the plus sign here and just adding in the templates. So then when you go to email someone, you can create a new email, click on My Templates and select the template that you want. It'll just pop into the email and then you can complete it and send it out. So it looks like other people have used those before, so that's great. I'm going to try to lean on templates rather than using my signatures to create a bunch of different signatures. And I'll have to test that out a little bit more. Oh, look, several people use templates. Awesome. So it seems like they're really easy to get to. Somebody asked, does that replace quick parts? I'm not sure.
I think so.
What is quick
It's
parts?
not a one-to-one replacement, but it's similar. So quick parts is where you could embed like parts of whatever. So like word text or I think even images could go and be dumped in there. They're ones that you would be using all the time.
Okay.
I read it briefly, but I'm not 100% sure. But the
Okay.
part that I read said that quick parts and templates are not a one-to-one replacement, but they're similar.
We'll look at quick parts a little bit too. Okay, so let's talk about the calendar a little bit. Some of the things that we've been asked about the calendar. Sorry, I had a brain freeze. One thing is if you're managing other people's calendars or you're looking at other people's calendars, not in a voyeuristic, creepy way, sorry. If you're checking out someone else's calendar, you can change the color of the calendar. So let's say I want to look at my boss's calendar and see if she's available for a meeting. I can go under people's calendars, click on the ... and I could choose a different color. So then when I view the calendar side by side, in this case, I made her calendar orange and mine is green. I can change my calendar color as well. So I can view those side by side and tell what's her calendar and what's my calendar. So that's a way to kind of differentiate between the calendars. I would love to know if anyone else has ideas on ways to differentiate between the calendars you're looking at as well. But you can make them the colors you want them to be. When I do that, I can view the calendar a couple of different ways. Go back to my calendar. So I have this little fake test calendar. I don't want to, I guess I'll just put my calendar on top of it. It's fine. So they overlay side by side, but you can also split view if you would prefer to split view and see theirs separate from mine. This is a little confusing because I have some things that are orange in here because I was playing around. But you can change the view of your calendar, yes. So we also got asked about proposing a new meeting time. So there's a couple of things added to the new Outlook that I think are a little easier than the old Outlook. When someone proposes a new meeting time, so you send them a meeting invite and they're like, that doesn't work for me, I want to change it. You'll select, you can either, when someone proposes a new meeting time, you get a little email and it says Leslie's proposed that we meet at 12:30 instead of 12. So my options as the person who sent the original meeting invite, I can accept this and say, I'm okay with 12:30, no problem. Or I can review the proposed time and it's going to pop open the whole meeting invite for me. I can see what the current meeting time is at the top. It's 12 o'clock. And I could see what she proposed. So I could go back and propose a different time if I want, or I could just click send. So let me go over that again because I feel like I made it hard. When someone proposes a new meeting time, you just get an email. You can either accept their proposal or go in and review it and send back a different proposed time. So that's pretty straightforward, I think, and easy to do. But there's also something called scheduling polls. So someone asked about how do I view all the calendars and see who's available. So when you create your event and you title it, you add in people to attend your event. You've probably noticed if you're using New Outlook, you get some suggested times. You could go ahead and pick your date and time that you're thinking of. It'll tell you if they're available or not. It'll say everyone, available everyone. If you want to see more detail, click on that scheduling poll, and on the right-hand side, you can actually see when your people on the invite are available. If the icon is green, everyone's available. So I could select any of these times. If the icon has a red, that means somebody's not available at that time. You can actually click on the little drop down and see who it is. So you can say, oh, are they critical to the meeting or not? So I could click on the downtime and say, oh, Leslie's not available, but Valerie is. That's okay. Or I could just say, I'm going to choose a time where everybody's green because I need everyone to be there. So that is the scheduling poll, is just being able to put them in the invite line and then check to see if they're available. All right. Did I miss anything, Leslie?
We have a couple of questions about how to add other people's calendars, like a team calendar or a shared calendar. So if you can show that, that would be great.
Okay. Let me turn this one. So if I want to add someone else's calendar, this is a test calendar, but your calendar is just going to be named calendar most likely. Just to keep that in mind. But I also have all these people down here. And these are people, sometimes I view them because I just want to check their availability. I can add someone by clicking on the ... You don't see it right away, but if you hover over, there's a ... And wait, how did I do this, Leslie? I've done this
The top,
100
add
times.
calendar. Add calendar. You're trying to add someone's calendar?
Yeah.
Add calendar above my calendars.
Oh my God. Thank you. I've done it 400 times now, as you can see.
But you can also...
You just click add calendar. You can add from the directory.
Yep.
You have to choose yourself and then you pick the name. So I think I already have Clara, but I'll just pick Clara and I'm going to add it to people's calendars and choose add. If she's already there, it's going to tell me she is already there, which she is. If it's not, it'll just let you know that it's added the calendar. For some reason, this blue text is hard for me to see.
What if it's not a person's calendar, but a team calendar? So our group has generated calendars to share when appointments are going on so that there's coverage.
So this is that's a good question. I was able, if it's in the directory, the global directory, you should be able to type in the email address and add it. But I don't have a team calendar. I have a team mailbox, so I'm not sure. Have you tried doing the email address to see if it would work?
I haven't tried that. I mean, it's one of the things. The reason I'm not using New Outlook right now is because one of the calendars I need for my day-to-day activities I cannot see.
Oh, okay. That's a problem. So if you can't see a calendar, you can, you may need to talk to 4Info about that to see how to get it. But you should try to see if you can add it with the email address from here.
Okay, yeah, because I can see my boss's calendar and I can see my teammates' calendar, but we generated there's like an on-site team specific one that goes about with coverage and things like that, and I cannot see that one.
Okay. So
So there was a question. There's a question about if what you are already showing in Classic Outlook should come over. Yes, as far as the calendars are concerned. Clearly there may be some discrepancy about that. And also someone asked about they can't add one of the mailboxes, for example, going back to mail instead of calendars. They can't add it to the favorites, and that's a known issue.
Okay. Someone asked if Outlook's available for a MacBook. I have no idea, but maybe somebody knows if they've used it on the Mac. Okay, so let's see. We'll go back and look. We'll go back and look at the questions again. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the questions. So scheduling poll, I think, is pretty cool. It works pretty well. I think it's easier to view than the old scheduling assistant, which is up here, but it just takes some getting used to. We have a couple of Microsoft recommendations for calendars. Some of these are just kind of like known issues. So I know this is a lot of text, so I'm going to just explain as best I can. Microsoft recommended to us that we manage our calendar from one source. Basically, don't use a third-party app. It seems like possibly people managing calendars on iPhones are having some issues. I'm not totally sure of that, but don't use a third-party app is what I'm going to say. I don't think any of us are doing that anyway. But just to let you know, don't attempt to manage calendar invites for multiple users simultaneously. So basically, if there's more than one delegate on a calendar, it can cause drama just because you could both be in the calendar at the same time and cause some issues. This was one I'd never heard before. We're not supposed to attempt to modify recurring meetings. You can modify an individual occurrence, but not the whole series. So Microsoft suggests if you need to modify the entire series, to cancel the whole series and recreate it. I know I never heard that before. And Microsoft recommends not to schedule recurring meetings longer than 6 months. So if you have a regular weekly, monthly meeting, we're not supposed to schedule it out till the end of time. We're supposed to do it for 6 months, and then at the 6-month mark, go ahead and reschedule the series. I'm not sure why that's an issue, but just apparently it can be an issue. They also recommend that we don't drag and drop meetings because that can cause issues. They prefer for us to select edit to make changes. And they suggest that users use the same mail client, so the desktop or the web, to accept and decline meetings. So I guess if we try not to accept meetings from iPhones or smartphones, because that might cause some problems. Wait till you get back to your desktop and accept them. These are just things that we were told. So some of them I think we could try to do, like not scheduling recurring meetings till the end of time. But that's what we know. So we wanted to also mention feedback. You can provide feedback to Microsoft and their feedback portal. It can feel a little overwhelming, but you can vote on things that you want them to work on. And Leslie and I have gone in and done that. But more votes potentially means they'll work on it faster. We also want to mention that we're collecting questions for a delegate class. I know I promised a delegate class. I haven't been able to pull that together quite yet. But if you manage others' emails and calendars, I've created a document in Teams. Please add your questions and screenshots to that file because we want to be able to try to answer those questions for you. If you ask the question and give us a screenshot, sometimes that will help us to figure out what's going on. Okay, so what are the questions that I missed, Leslie? Okay, so some people still don't have the toggle, and if the toggle is here, and that may just be an update issue. Your computer may not have been updated yet. But you can come back and watch these, and you can, of course, ask questions.
There was a question about how to add multiple. So on the left-hand side, you know how you have February right there. There's a question about how to add 2 months out. And as far as I'm aware, there is not a way. Even if you do the My Day, there is not a way on the right-hand side to show 2 months at a time. So if you go to calendar, yeah. So you can do like the week, or you can do the month, but you can't have like 2 months out. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Okay, it looks like someone else says that they believe the new Outlook's available for Mac, as they've been able to toggle it on and off. Quite a few people have decided to use the legacy version. If that works better for you, it's totally fine. Just remember, at the end of the year, they're going to switch us. What else did we miss?
Most recent question, if you have multiple calendars you manage, how do you view them in columns? I think you actually just check the individual calendars, and then you choose what view you want to see, and then you use a split view. So if you turned on, so split view, and that would show you the different columns.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the answer. Good.
Okay. Someone else was able to add a team calendar from the directory. So where we showed the add calendar, add from directory, they were able to do that. So you should be able to search for the email address to add the team calendar.
So a question about the toggle. If you don't have the toggle, you're on the legacy version of Outlook, and this is specific to MacBook. Well, it's specific to everybody. You're on the what they call classic, and at some point you'll get updated, and you'll then get a toggle, and then you can get what they're calling new Outlook. So right now, if you don't have a toggle, you are not on new Outlook. You're on classic Outlook, but you're on an older version of classic.
So it looked like the contact list for me did transfer over to the new Outlook as well. If you're having trouble adding a group mailbox, you might need to talk to your administrator again, just to make sure that everything's working on the group mailbox, that your email address is included. I realize that should be, but you might have to talk to your group administrator.
The other thing that might be something to do with group emails and group mailboxes, I'm sorry, is there's a new feature coming. It's not released yet. It's still in like early preview, but supposedly you're able to actually add mailboxes as accounts instead of as shared mailboxes. So that might be something that will fix some of these problems that some people are having.
Yeah.
No guarantees.
And there might just be some growing pains with this to get everything transferred over the way that you want. For me, most everything transferred over. I did have to add the shared mailboxes. I did have to update my signatures. So there were some things like that. But if you're really having trouble getting into your shared mailboxes, it might be a thing to check with your administrator within your department, and then check with 4Info too, because your administrator might be able to do something on their side to make sure that you're in the mailbox correctly. So yes, all my subfolders and everything transferred to the new Outlook. I had no problem. Okay. So as always, a lot of information, a lot of great questions. I do want to encourage you to post on the teams with more questions. Leslie and I have created some documents under files under the general channel with some of these steps for how to work with Outlook. So there is a document. I don't have my teams open right now, but there's a document in there with some of the steps on how to do things in the new Outlook. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to share the information. And of course, you can share with others outside of the team as well. If you have questions as a delegate or someone who shares a mailbox or calendar, please put them in the file on the teams. We sent it out this morning. We want to be able to answer those questions. So in the future, we'll try to do a special session for delegates. Okay, so someone else asked, how do we find the notes saved on the left-hand side in Outlook? The notes. Can you explain what the notes are?
Hi there, it's Marbelia.
Hey.
Yes, they were like a little sticky note. It was like a yellow note section where I had like passwords and stuff like that saved, or bank account, not bank account, but like the bank name and stuff like that.
You should have underneath your inbox. So you're going to have like inbox, draft, sent, deleted, junk, archive, and then there should be something called notes.
Ah,
that is in
there they
there.
are.
I've never used the notes before.
I love them. You basically, like, if you have a mailing address that you've saved, you put it in there, administrative support, you put their names in it, whatever it is that you're wanting, you just save it in there. Now they're a different color, but they were like sticky notes.
Oh, cool.
I think it looks like it actually is the sticky notes app that like you can open independently and you sync it. That's so cool.
I use it all the time. I love it. I have like my pro card address in there. I have just a lot of information. It's really neat. And saves from using sticky notes.
let me share this real quick so you guys could see. I was trying to get to Teams. So notes are under your inbox all the way down. For some reason, I have had a hard time reading the text in Outlook. I don't know if that's my dyslexia or something, but it's too light or something. So sometimes I'm looking right at the thing and I can't see it.
The
but we can
font
add
is
it.
kind of small too.
Yeah, the font's a little small, so we'll look at accessibility as well. It looks like you can add this to your favorites if you just right click on it, so that's good.
For the what we were just talking about with the font feeling small, because I felt the same way. I just went into settings, and if you go under mail and layout, you can do text size and spacing. I just made mine medium. Oh, yours is on large. Yeah, and it helped me because mine was already set to small. So if anyone else is in that boat, that might help.
I did the same thing. I was like, mine was set to small, and I was like, okay, this is way too small.
I feel like we need an extra large though, because it still feels small to me. I don't know why.
Okay, someone says they don't see notes.
So the other thing is the dark mode. You can use the dark mode. I think that's under general, right?
And appearances. Yep.
Oh,
look what you have today.
I know some days we have themes and some days we don't. You can choose the dark mode. Leslie prefers the dark mode, and maybe I need to just try this for a while, Leslie, and see if I can handle the dark mode.
No, there's no gray mode, and I really want there to be. I'm hoping that there will be a gray mode coming because dark mode is too dark and light mode is too light. I need gray. And
okay,
people with
I'm the same way.
People with astigmatisms, light text on dark backgrounds are hard to read.
Oh,
Yes.
well, that would totally make sense.
Yes, it makes the words look a little fuzzier.
Okay. So yeah, I hopefully from an accessibility standpoint, they're going to add some more features. We'll look at the feedback and see if we can vote on any of those too, because I really struggle a little bit on the reading on this as well. And I've probably told y'all a million times I'm dyslexic, but I'm not sure what to do to make it more readable for myself. Colors usually help me, but yeah, so we will learn together.
We got some questions about notes. If you don't see the notes, how do you get them? Are they only available for new Outlook? So they can't only be available for new Outlook because they were in old Outlook because people were using them in old Outlook.
Right.
So yeah, we need to do a follow-up question for notes.
Okay. How to change the color of incoming
yes,
emails.
Conditional formatting is not available currently in new Outlook. I'm very disappointed.
So that to me was an accessibility issue as well. Is that we should the conditional formatting was where you could, if you get emails from my boss, I would have it in a brighter color so I could know that it was from her and it was important, but I don't get that anymore. So that's not available in the new Outlook.